I wanted to ask you about Arsenal because last season you thought that we'd have a chance of winning it. You've seen our business so far in the
Hmm.
window. Looks like Calafiori, or after Calafiori, who's already in, it's going to be Mikel Merino, who you said is a good player, and I agree. I think I like what I see. Glimpses of what I see. There's reports that we're going to be going for an attacker as well. If we get those players in, what's the minimum expectation for Arsenal under Arteta this season, and what are your thoughts about what Arsenal might achieve?
I mean, I think Arsenal, if those three signings that you mentioned happened, I think Arsenal will win the league. And if they don't win the league, and I'm going to be harsh now, but it's the reality. If they don't win the league, there needs to be a serious conversation about Arteta's role as Arsenal manager. I've never been one of those guys who's like, oh yeah, Arteta needs to get sacked because they haven't won and all that. But the way that you've built everything up now, the climb to the mountain now, you're like 100 meters away, and now you have to eventually get over the line. And if you never get over the line, then there needs to be a question about the manager, because those three signings that you just mentioned make Arsenal's squad and starting 11 essentially perfect to win right now, ready to win. And I'm be honest with you, I don't even think it's like a FA Cup or a Carabao Cup thing. I think you need to win one of the two big ones, because you've built up all this not just to win an FA Cup and a Carabao Cup. You have to win at the high level, and I think these three signings, if you mentioned that they do happen, I think Arsenal will win the league next season. And to be honest with you, don't win the league, I hope Arsenal do. I don't want City to do a five beat. I really don't want City to do a five beat. I really don't want City to win another trophy. So for me, I backed Arsenal last season. To be honest, Liverpool were the real bottle jobs last season, not Arsenal, because they were never top of the league to begin with. But I think Arsenal have a really good team. They really are scary now. So I do expect them to big up Terry. I do expect them to win this season. I do expect them to eventually get over the line. And if they don't, I think everyone who's Arteta out has every right to be Arteta out at that point in time, specifically given everything you said. And actually, I have a crazy prediction. If you do sign Mikel Merino, and the back four that you have with Moreno and Rice stays fit all year long, I think you'll break the Chelsea goals conceded record.
Husam,
What?
bro, I got clipped up. I got clipped up for this on Terry's show, and I did a show on it a couple of days ago, and I said that should be the target. And people are laughing at me, going, "Oh, I want a trophy first." Yeah, I get all that. I understand that, but there should still be a target, right? I'm not saying I think this will be the what happens. I'm saying that the defense that we have stacked now should have the target to get as close as it can to that Chelsea record. The defensive department at Arsenal is good, man. Like you look at the backups now with Tomiyasu, with Timber, with Zinchenko, who I don't really like defensively, but he's still there. You've got Kivior still there, with no one knows what's happening with him at the moment. But you've got Gabriel and Saliba, which is an unbelievable partnership. You've got Calafiori and Ben White. No one talks about Ben White, by the way. The guy was phenomenal last season. And for me,
Yeah.
I think that playing the amount of games he does, likewise Gabriel and Saliba, played, I think it was 37, 38, and 36 games. It's absolutely crazy to play that amount in the season. So you're right. If we keep that and you get Rice and you get Marino, you're right to think that should be the target. And, I always remember when I was growing up, Steve Bold said, if you do not concede a goal, you will not lose a game. And it's facts. So if you get your defense right, it will win you a title. And I think that's what Mikel Arteta is looking at. Because scoring goals, it wasn't our problem last season. Conceding down that left-hand side was an issue, and Calafiori coming in, hopefully, and Timber being fit, if he stays fit this time, is going to allow for that. Zinchenko, I don't see playing much football for Arsenal this coming season, thank God, because for me, defensively, he ain't good enough, right? So for me, I think Calafiori and Timber is huge upgrades in that position. Mikel Merino is actually a proper kind of number 8, which is a player that we've needed for a while because Rice has been playing there, but we don't know if he's properly going to be there. Rice in the 6 is phenomenal. We saw that last season. He got, I think, 8 or 9 man of the match performances from playing in that position. So I think for me, when you look at what's happening in Arsenal's backline, you're right to look at those predictions. And people will say that's wild. People will call you crazy. And I got clipped up saying it, but I said it should be the target. LB was laughing, saying, I said that when we signed Gvardiol, it's not going to happen, bro. Trust me, that's never being beaten. Maybe it won't ever be beaten, right? Maybe it won't, but it should be the target for Arsenal this season to go as close as they can to that record. Even if we only concede 18, 20, 21, whatever it be, get as close as you can to that. Because for me, I think we've got the players there to really form a defensive partnership now. So I don't think it's a mad statement to say that. I wanted to ask you
And
though,
think
because
about
there's
it
a lot.
logically. Who can actually break you down? Who can actually break you down? Like, if you have that back six, I'd say probably City could break you down. Liverpool could break you down. Spurs, just because it's a North London derby, so you expect fireworks in that game. So that's your 3 games right there. When I look at the bottom 10, I think you could stop them home and away. So that's 20 games already. And then you look at the top 10, the likes of a Brighton, the likes of a West Ham, other clubs, you could easily keep a clean sheet against them too. So it is really possible. It's a lot less crazy than when you think about it. And I mean, even Chelsea, like when Chelsea did it, they still had to stop a whole lot of strikers. It's not like there's many strikers you have to stop now. I mean, back in the day, you had Andy Johnson tearing up the Premier League. You had many strikers in mid-table clubs just tearing up the Premier League. Now, it's not really the same, to be honest. It's not like Saliba and Gabriel can't stop Mateta. They can. So yeah, that's. I honestly believe it's a possibility. It's a possibility,
Wow.
and it'll actually make you closer to winning a league too. That's the thing.
That's insane. Let me ask you this because everyone seems to be putting this question at me. I believe we do need a striker, but where are you at?
Mhm.
Because a lot of people are saying if Arsenal do not sign a striker, they will not win the league. Now, I understand you've mentioned that Calafiori and Marino are still good signings. I do agree with that, but I still we need to do more. And I know we've scored goals last season. I get it. But you made a great point earlier about Darwin Nunez in terms of big chances and what he misses. I kind of get that opinion with Jesus and Havertz sometimes. Not to that degree, because that's a mad stat that you read out, right? But for me, when you look at Havertz and Jesus going through, I still don't put my house on them scoring. If that was a striker that I had going through that I've like, that's a goal, then that's what we need. Now, we're not going to go and get Alexander Isak, is who I would want. That's not going to happen, right? But at the same time, I do think that a Victor Gyökeres, maybe a Victor Osimhen, depends on what you see in that, or Ivan Toney. That to me is goal, goal, goal. And there were chances last season in games, bruv, where we actually did miss chances to lost us games. Against you in the FA Cup was a typical example. That in the first half, we should have been about 3-0 up, but we had hitting posts, missing targets, getting shot. And I was thinking, what is happening here? We should be 2-3-0 up in 28 minutes, and we've ended up losing the game. West Ham at home was exactly the same scenario. So, Villa and Newcastle away as well. We had chances that we missed. So I think if we had that killer striker, I think added to the Calafiori and Marino signings, which you've just spoken about defensively, if we was to add that striker, then I would look at it and go, right, no more excuses. Let's go and win the league now. So I don't know where you're at with that, bro.
I think Arsenal should sign a striker. I agree with you completely. There is no more excuses. I feel like you just need to go get all your pieces that you need so you can go win the league, because the league is there for you to be winning it at the end of the day. Things aren't all sunshine and rainbows at Man City. Like it's possible for Arsenal to win the league this season. I mean, Alvarez just left. They were talking about other players leaving. It's just a whole bunch of things that are happening. To be honest with you, I expect for Arsenal to win the league this season, given all the context of all these things that we just stated. But I do think you need a striker. 100% agreed with you. I think Ivan Toney, whoever it is, Gyökeres, you need someone, because Arsenal getting a striker means that you're gonna alleviate pressure off of Saka, which I think is needed as well. That's just the ultimate situation of Arsenal. And to be honest, sometimes I watch Arsenal, I feel bad for Saka, because if it's like Saka doesn't score or create, it's like no one else is there to step up when you need it. I know Trossard has his moments, Martinelli has his moments, even Havertz himself had his moments, but you need someone to alleviate pressure, because, and this is harsh reality, I think Saka gets triple and double teamed and they leave Havertz out in empty space because they would rather Havertz take the shot, because they can live with Havertz taking a shot over Saka taking a shot.
Facts.
Now, they can't do the same if you have Gyökeres. They can't double team if you have Gyökeres. I mean, if you had Gyökeres up top, then you double team, you leave him empty, and then he's going to score a goal. He's going to be clinical. He's going to finish his chances. Same with Ivan Toney. Same. So he would suck in center backs. He would take in spaces, and which will allow Saka to score more goals. And by the way, another player that might benefit from you signing a striker is actually Martinelli, because then
100%.
it gives him space to get in behind, score goals, etc. So yeah.
Listen, I think Martinelli's going to have a good season. And it's not actually because of the number 9, but it's complemented with that. It's actually because of Calafiori and Marino. Because the left-hand side now is looking good and he will flourish. Martinelli is a top player. I can't believe the disrespect people put on him, man. He's a top quality player. 15 goals the season before last.
Want to
This
trade
season.
for Diaz?
Do you know what was funny? I did a show with LB last season at the start before a ball was kicked and he put Diaz in a combined 11 ahead of Martinelli. I was just like, come on, man. What is happening here? And I told him, listen, he is a top player. And I tell you, I really, really, really do want Martinelli to show everyone why he's
Martinelli would have scored 30 goals under Klopp, to be honest with you, because that's his best trait.
Do you know what? He loves him as well. He loved Martinelli. He kept going on
Remember
about
the
him.
press conference that rattled all the Arsenal fans when he called him the
Properly
star
rattled.
boy?
Properly rattled. He don't even. He not. Do you know what? He'd hardly even been at us. He was with us for not even a year, I don't think. And he was like, "This player is my sort of player," and I'm like, "Oh dear, this is going to go mad." But, it's crazy.